What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for another review of the Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 16, Episode 7, Wild Cards. So we start off with Emily. She's on a shopping trip with Nicole and Dr. Jen, and they're out shopping for bathing suits, etc. Nicole starts to talk about Noella, and she's talking really negatively about Noella. Emily, for some reason, is Team Noella, and she's not entertaining any kind of negativity about Noella. I don't understand why Emily has decided to be the cheerleader for Noella. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. No. Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to Heather. So Gina comes over to Heather's house, and in in Gina's confessional, she's fangirling over Heather again, over her closet because she's got this. Of course, Heather's closet looks like it looks even bigger than some boutiques. I was gonna say look like a mini boutique, but it's probably even bigger than a lot of boutiques. So Gina's fangirling over her closet, and Gina just loves her some Heather. I don't know if she really likes Heather or if she's just trying to be the rich woman's friend so she can have all the perks of having a wealthy friend. I don't really know. But anyway, she's fangirling over Heather. And while she's over there, she's asking Heather if Heather could reconsider her disinvite to Cabo to Noella. So she wants Heather to invite Noella. And Heather says, well, let me tell you something. Noella ended up giving Max a board game, and it was a pride themed board game, which is good. But when Heather looked at the board game and she read some of the things that were on the card, it was some very explicit things that some people would think would be inappropriate to give to an adult, let alone to a 17-year-old child. So Heather starts reading some of the things on the card. I don't know if these were actions that the game required you to do or what, because everything that Heather would read off the cards was completely bleeped off. And the bleeps were so long because everything on those cards was like extremely explicit stuff. And I don't understand how Noella could have given such a gift to, number one, a minor, and number two, a minor that you don't really know very well, and number three, a minor whose mother you're not getting along with. It just didn't make any sense why Noella would give such a gift. Like I said, it would be inappropriate for some adults to give it to other adults, but she gave it to a child. Like, Noella, use your brain. So even through all of that, Heather said that she doesn't want anyone to feel left out. And what I don't understand is Gina is the one that brought the negative information to Heather. She is the one that told Heather what Noella was saying about Heather, that Heather was fake and she shouldn't be trusted. So you bring her the negative information to Heather from Noella, but then you're surprised about why Heather won't invite Noella to Cabo, and then you're trying to convince Heather to invite Noella to Cabo. Like, I don't understand. If you were that concerned, Gina, about Heather and Noella's friendship and facilitating a friendship between the two of them, why would you bring negative information to Heather from Noella? Anyways, Heather says that yes, she agrees. She doesn't want anyone to feel left out. She understands that, that Noelle is going through a lot of stuff personally. And so she decides to extend an invitation to Noella. But she tells Gina, because I'm inviting her to Cabo with us, you're going to be on Noella duty. So you're going to have to keep her at bay and keep an eye on her. So, moving on from that. So everyone is getting ready for the trip, and they decide to take off, and Heather is very organized and very planned, and she's on top of everything. And I'm like, Heather, how much will it cost me for you to come and organize my life? Because I like how Heather is just a really good planner, and she's like so organized with everything. I think that's so impressive. When it comes to choosing a room, okay, there's enough rooms to go around. There's like the main house, there's a couple of casitas around the main house. There is plenty of room. But for whatever reason, Emily and Gina, they need to have a room together. So they find a room where they can share together. I don't understand why. Y'all are grown women. This is not the Ramona and Sonia show. This is something completely different. It's okay to have your own room. I don't understand why they felt the need to room together. Because a lot of the times, I don't think, a lot of the times it seems like Gina kind of gets a little bit fed up with Emily, but she wanted a room with her. So that's fine. Okay, moving on from there. So Shannon and MJ, they go horseback riding. And while they're horseback riding, after they do all of that, they sit down and they talk. And I think Gina had said something about, Miss Gina Sunshine. She was saying, if we can just get Heather and Noella in the same room, I'm pretty sure that, things are going to get smoothed out between them. And Emily was like, yeah, I don't think so. And I don't think so either, because I don't think Noella cares to be Heather's friend, and I don't think Heather really cares to be Noella's friend. They're just going to be civil and keep it at that. I don't understand why they have to be friends and they have to get along. Anyways, while this is happening, Heather and Dr. Jen, they're back at the villa resort, I don't know what it's called, and they're having a discussion, and they're talking about doctors trying to balance their work lives and their family lives. And Dr. Jen was talking about how hard it is for her to do that. She comes home like around 8, 9 o'clock at night, and Heather was like, "Oh my God, you come home so late, and you just have to make an effort that you're going to make time for your family, so on and so forth." So they have that whole discussion on the bus to dinner. Everybody gets on the bus to go to dinner that night, and Shannon tells the girls that she got a text from Noella that they would not accept, the airport would not accept her passport card. And Heather just rolled her eyes and said, "You know what? I bet you she just forgot her passport." And while they're having this discussion, Dr. Jen is busy taking selfies. It's just so weird to me how some people are just so consumed with taking selfies. And she's like, she's a doctor, she's a grown adult, but she was just more concerned about taking selfies of herself. That was really funny to me. So Noella ends up showing up in Cabo, but when she shows up at the house, the girls are at the restaurant having dinner. And in her confessional, Noella says that it would have been nice if Heather would have been at the house to greet her. I don't know if that was done intentionally. I don't know if she was delayed in arriving there. I don't know the details of why she arrived when she arrived and the girls were not home at that time. So I really can't say that Heather was being rude or not, because I just don't know the details of when she was supposed to arrive and who was supposed to be at the house, if anyone, at that time. Noella finally makes her way to dinner at the restaurant, and because no, so she's explaining to the girls, what happened with her passport. She says, well, because she's used to flying, private, she always has her passport card, and the passport card has always been sufficient. But now that she's not flying private, she's flying commercial. They said that the protocol is to have your actual passport. Well, now she knows. Now, the girls are taking tequila shots, and Noella is complaining that the tequila is room temperature and it's not chilled. And Heather notices this because you see Heather kind of looking at her funny. And Heather, in her confessional, she's like, I don't know why she just didn't take the damn shot. I understand if it was like, you're enjoying a glass of wine or something like that, and you get really picky with how it's served, but it was just a shot. So just, tilt your head back, take the shot, and let's move on with our lives. Noella asks Emily, what did Nicole say that she had said about Emily and Gina? And according to Nicole, Noella had told her that Emily always takes her children to get frozen yogurt and she shops at Costco, which is like normal everyday stuff. So that shows how elitist Noella is for her to use that as something to criticize Emily about. And according to Nicole, Noella had also said that Gina's boyfriend Travis was a loser and that he was broke and he had no money. And Noella says she didn't say that. She denies saying that. And in her confessional, Noella said, but I did say that her house was small. She did make a comment about Gina's house. So Gina and Emily love going hard for Noella, but Noella is just dragging them through the mud behind their backs. I don't get it. I don't understand. Noella seems like someone who would talk about people like Emily and Gina. And when I say people like Emily and Gina, I mean people who are not, in the upper 2 percentile of the wealthiest people in America. They're just your average, everyday type people who are living your average, everyday type not blue collar, but you're just your everyday life. They're just regular people. She's an attorney. I have no idea what the hell Gina does, but when you look at Gina's home, she's just a regular schmegular person. And Noella seems like someone who would talk down about people like that because she decided to marry for money, so she thinks she's on a completely different stratosphere than everybody else. So Heather notices this as well. So Noelle in her confessional says that Nicole had set up, no, sorry. In her confessional, she said that Heather had set up Nicole to discredit her amongst the women. That Heather was basically, putting a bug in Nicole's ear, and Nicole ran with it to go around to talk bad about Noella. And so MJen decided to take Noella to the side and talk to her. And they're like, when you were talking about, another thing that kind of bothered Heather, that Heather, you could tell Heather was making a mental note of, is the fact that Noella ordered dinner, but she didn't eat it. And someone had said something about her not eating the dinner. And so she was like, fine, fine. If it's so important to you for me to eat, she took a bite of something on her plate. So when MJen took Noella to the side to talk to her, they were like, it was kind of rude that you would order this plate of food, but you didn't even eat it. And Heather noticed that. And they're like, Heather had a problem with that. And Noella was like, well, in case you didn't know, newsflash, Heather is offended just about by everything. So yeah, I really don't care. So at the table, when MJ and Noella are still away, Heather tells Dr. Jen and Shannon, well, this is the reason why I didn't want to invite her, because of all of this. This is like she's making a spectacle of herself, basically. And this is the reason why I didn't want to invite her. And that's where the episode ended. I don't really care for Noella and how she's presenting herself. I don't understand why Emily and Gina are so like just into defending this woman, and I just don't get it. The whole thing with her divorcing, whatever situation she's having with her husband, leaving her and filing for divorce. I'm not sympathetic towards that. I'm not sympathetic at all because I don't think that either one of them was in this marriage for any type of real, genuine love. I think she married for money and he married a Barbie, and that's the end of it. So her putting on this show about, being so distraught, and Emily and Gina acting like, oh my God, she's this poor broken doll and we have to be there for her. I don't subscribe to that at all. Now, I understand that Noella is probably very much distraught about not having access to the money, to the funds, but I don't think that she's distraught about this man leaving her. I just don't buy it. Anyways, that is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know because you decided to spend your time with me. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later.